Okay, this is the area where I caused the most havoc in high school. This is the ag room. I had forestry and wildlife, ag mechanics, and I forgot the other one. Some kind of like animal class. We were talking about animals.
Oh.
So,
Did you don the name Chris Extreme this class also?
yep, this is where I was. This is where Andrew Dunlap started. He always called me Mr. Extreme because I always pull pranks in here, and he'd always say, "Oh, Lonis, that's extreme," and it just kept on and on until it turned into Mr. Extreme. This is also the room where the name Haji was invented, because Delosier, which we call Delo, would sit right here, and when he was going down the road book, he'd always say Chris Haji, and everybody kind of snicker, because then they knew that wasn't really his name. And then Delo started calling on him during class, like Delosier would ask him kind of hard question, and he'd say, "Haji, why don't you tell me the answer to that?" So it just, and he was a big Hulk Hogan fan, so it just turned into Haji Mania. Haji Mania is running wild.
When Haji answered questions, it wasn't like we're just complete silence.
Yeah, silence. Delo would always call him Haji, which was.
He did the same thing in Mr. McMahon's class. They'd be asking him a question, you just hear silence.
He sat right in this. He sat there, and then me and Amanda would sit over here. Well, we always used to go on the bus and take field trips to like Delosier's farm and get leaves off the trees, and then we bring the leaves back in here and kind of. Those were some fun field trips. We took like 3 or 4 of those. We had to go to a farm and.
Oh, his three-legged dog was there.
Yeah, the three-legged dog.
Yeah.
Haji was there on those trips.
Yeah.
Then we had to take the leaves and go back to school and glue them on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And write.
Yeah, they were all maple leaves. I think so.
And he always made you stay after class.
Yeah, I had to always do like janitor work because there was no way I was going to pass that class.
I did talk about that earlier about him. I cannot believe this CD player is still in the same exact spot. Delosier always used to make us listen to some brutal music, like old country songs from like the 70s. It's still here. His TV's still here. And I think even his old computers are still.
Oh yeah, these are kind of, I don't know how old those are, but they're flat screens.
Because he made us so mad one day, Delosier did, that Nick was going to bring a floppy disk in and put a virus on. That was always going to be Nick's payback on Delosier. I remember the time we had to take all these desks out of here, and me and Daniel was just sitting here goofing around. Okay, there was one day in this class when Delosier had everybody out here working. They were working on different projects, and I went in here and hid. And I came out or Kevin Haynes came over here and he said, "Hey, everybody, look at this." And I came around the corner and I had a welding mask on, an apron, and I had gloves on my feet, like the welding gloves. I was walking around with these. You just had to, and I had tools like in my apron. And then Delosier chewed me out and told me to go.
Look like a welder.
Oh yeah, and this is what we did all of our welding at, and here. Yep. I was always so afraid to go in there. Because you always heard them stories about sparks picking up, affecting your vision and stuff. Yep. I was in here many times. We used to weld NWO into some of the metal. Yeah, this all looks the same. Like I said, this is where my name Mr. Extreme was invented. Haji Mania was invented here. They threw me, some kid, and one year he shoved me in one of those lockers in there. Some fat kid, and then he told me that he came out and he said, "Lonis is skipping class." So like they were all looking for me, and this is another little hiding spot we used to have. Me and Nick would sneak up there. Snack machine's still the same, and I've noticed the sign of the times they've taken all the caffeine machines out.
Yeah,
that used to be a Coke machine.
School, all the caffeine machines are gone.
But the snack machine's still the same.
Is that the one where you lit the tire arrow?
Oh, the most famous story of them all was the time that Chris Green almost had me sent to ALC because Delosier just made me mad all the time, and one day I wanted to pay him back by letting the air out of the lawnmower tires, and Chris Green had suck up whenever and told on me. And Mr. Moore told me he was going to be nice and not send me to ALC. And many times I sat in that classroom and I had to hear Delosier say, "Lonis, go to the office." And I'd go up there, and then they'd say, what are you doing here? And I'd say, "Delosier sent me up here." And they'd say, "Lonis, go back to class." I heard that many times, too. It was always yeah, like I was saying, like when you're in those classes with those more preppier kids, people like me, Nick, Haji, we were always kind of the quiet ones. But in this area of the school, when I was in this classroom here, I was kind of the one that always unintentionally become the kind of class clown, because that's what they all made me out to be. Oh yeah, Delosier. Me and Daniel was talking one morning. So Delosier sent me and Daniel out to empty the trash cans. Where there was like 5 trash cans we always had to take out. And one day I got so mad I took one of his trash cans and threw it in Buddy Hauser's truck, in the truck bed.
Didn't he take you on a field trip to his home or something?
Yeah, he took us to field trips to his house, to his barn, and then we had to go to some pond and pick leaves out of a tree. He always used to make us do stuff out there. I have so many memories here that like it would take me probably an hour to really go over everything. So I'm just kind of shortening things down here. But this is where I caused my most havoc ever. I made a legacy in this part of the school, and I at least had one Delosier class a year or so. I could never escape the man, and he always had it out for me.
And he's still here.
Yep, and he's still here. And anybody I was associated with, he would start picking on them. Like he picked on Amanda, he picked on Hoppy. He also invented the Hoppy name.
That's all Hoppy got invented also.
Yeah, nobody ever called him anything but Daniel until he started coming until these ag days. So Hoppy, Haji, Mr. Extreme was all invented in this area. There's the ping pong table where all the rednecks used to play ping pong after school. His biggest suck-ups would be the ping pong guys.
Didn't Justin have this class or anything?
Yeah, Justin and Davis had a, I forgot what class it was. I'm sure when we watch this back with him, he can tell us. But I remember going here and I skipped one of my classes one time, and Justin was in here working on something. Ag mechanics, I believe is what it was. Yeah, ag mechanics.
It seems like a class you'd take.
These blackboard things they've always been here because we used to write Mr. Extreme and Peppermint Nichols, which was Nick's nickname. Haji Mania, we would always put our stamp of approval on. We'd put our NWO logo. And we put an NWO one day. And it said Smelly. That was there.
That was Smiley. It was Smiley, wasn't it?
That was there. That was put there. And I had Smiley in the ag class, and that was put there.
That was Smiley.
Holy crap.
I changed it to an E. That's okay.
Holy crap. This is an epic moment. I do remember now having a class with Smiley down here, and he wrote his name here. And I remember it said NWO all over.
Somebody wrote
Smelly. They changed it, but that always used to say Smiley. Chris White. There's the man right there, Delosier. The ag teacher. Me and him had a kind of like a Zach Morris, Mr. Belding kind of relationship. Me and him kind of had.
in the 4 years of high school, I never went in that room. I was never passing by that room right there, and it's always saying lockers down this hallway.
Yeah, there was always lockers down here. Yeah, you ruled the band room, and I ruled this part of the school, and we were on opposite ends. We were kind of separated there after freshman year.
After Mr. House's class, we were separated.
You were in the band, and I was down here in the ag class. With Michael O'Connor.
That's a recent picture. He's got gray hair now. He's only a year older than me.
My locker in 9th grade was, I believe, one of these here.
Yes.
That's not really that important.
Mine was right here. Because after freshman year, I never got any other locker. I always carried my books, but I always had a locker right here. I never used it, but
Oh yeah, I did.
remember one time somebody put a sour thing of milk in the locker above mine, and I just kept this for my gym clothes, and then all my gym clothes started smelling like sour milk. And whenever I wore them, everybody was like, "Damn, you stink."
Also, 9th grade, I always had a different girl. I always liked every so often. Georgia Rogers was my main girl or main crush of 9th grade. Her locker was right down here. And that was back in the days when you used to write notes. So I'd always be in this area giving her a note. That was always the cool thing of our days. Back in our generation, you didn't text, you wrote notes, and you folded them up, and you exchanged them in between classes. That was the cooking room.
It was the home economics.
Home ec, yeah.
This mirror old is not here, but this represents different kinds of students. And then Mr. Clark, who was a former principal here.
Miss McCroskey's class is right there.
We talked about whenever we were at primary school.
She was our second grade
Just
teacher.
a little while ago, and we were second grade teacher.
And I
Mr.
believe
Williams is in the exact same room I had him for U.S. History junior year.
but that, didn't this used to also be a Miss McCord's class?
No. So this is always Mr. Williams' class.
I had Mr. Williams in a different class. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I had U.S. History, you had ancients.
Yeah, now this is coming back to me. I had ancient history in this class. Oh, I hated that class. Because I didn't have anybody that I knew in it.
He had the same thing. He always made
Pearl Harbor,
He
yeah.
always made us watch these war movies and.
Yeah, I remember we had to watch Pearl
I
Harbor.
remember the first time I saw Roy, he sat down to watch Saving Private Ryan. He was in this classroom right here. Now I did my U.S. History project on the Vietnam War, and I was up here talking about it.
I sat right here, and I'm pretty, yeah, these are the same exact desk.
Yeah, I sat there on this side of U.S. History. And I remember Shelley Childress was here, and I had a crush on her from first grade on to senior year.
And right here would have been Jeffrey Wilson. Back here would have been Kayla Kitts. And
You
Gina,
knew Jeffrey Wilson?
I didn't know he sat beside
He
me.
was my sister's ex-boyfriend's brother. I knew him for years.
Gina Gibson sat right here, and sat right here, and Jason Gray sat back right in that chair there. Jason Gray, Kayla Kitts, Gina Gibson. I forgot who sat behind me. It's nobody important. And once again, Mr. Williams' class. Okay, you know when everybody always says, where was you on 9/11? Where was you when the world stopped turning and all that? I was right here in this class. I had this was Earth Science, Miss McCord.
I had her for geology. Bobby Haynes was in that class.
God, when I had her, there was like pictures of planets and stuff, like little planet things. This room looks dull.
This is actually, ironically, Mr. Hauser's name is on the.
Oh, this was Buddy Hauser's class.
So, of course, we talked to Mr. Ogle earlier today, and he said that he actually is working under a contract right now.
So now we know why the room
retired.
looks kind of empty-ish because
Yeah.
there's. Come on, old phones have kind of withstood the test of time.
All those phones still are in all those schools. So he's.
All right, yeah, and Miss McCord's Earth Science class, we had her right in here. Then I had sociology, and one of my favorite classes my whole 4 years of high school was psychology with Mr. Allen.
And world geography with him.
And his wife was pregnant at the time, and we used to have to hear stories about that, and his fear of macaroni. He had a real fear of, like a phobia of that.
I didn't like macaroni either.
And we used to watch the Masked Magician movies in that class right there.
Who's the teacher? He was the one that always would bring Indiana Jones movies and for people to watch.
Yeah, Mr. Allen loved it. We had to watch Indiana Jones, Charlie Manson videos. He was always showing us some kind of movie. But now he's across the hallway for some reason. Now they moved him. This was Todd Napier's class. Todd Napier is still here. It was me, Carrie, Haji, Amanda, Ashley McGill. A bunch of us had this class here. Smiley. This room looks about the exact same.
Let's see what Mr. Rucker.
Okay, when
Members
we
here have met Mr. Cotter, Coach Cotter, for hours ed. Spent the first time, what it was 6 or 9 weeks in the classroom before we started driving.
Yeah, there was 2 driver's ed teachers, McGinley and Cotter. McGinley would just take you driving first thing. Cotter would do 9 weeks book work.
Did you
9
have
weeks.
McGinley or Cotter?
I had Cotter. I once again, it was one of those classes where I didn't have nobody that I knew, but there was one girl that I had a crush on that sat right in front of me, Jessica Valentine.
I remember her.
She sat in front of me. Everything looks, still pretty dull. Except the desks are turned a different way.
And then
You used to have a window
There's
here.
a window here. You can see the main lobby of the school right here that's been cut off.
You used to get, yeah, people that were at lunch would look through the window and make faces at the people that were in here trying to do work.
I remember that being at lunchtime, just like looking in on people that were in here, see if I knew anybody that was in this class at the time.
Last time I was in here would have been January of 2003. Wow. So 11 years, or 10 years. I also had James Cotter for help in first aid. That was a class that would kind of scare you because you knew you were going to have to do CPR to a dummy, and it was with other people watching.
At
So.
least it wasn't the real person you do CPR to.
Yeah. I had this class. This was financial planning. Miss Mitchell. She was kind of a loudmouth woman. You said.
That northern accent. I remember I was sitting right here. I had her for business law and financial planning. For business law, I had Amanda Milligan. She sat right behind me. And Amanda, if you're watching this, which I know you will be, you'll remember the time that I always had to draw my neck because the tickling of it made me feel good. And then I drew on your, I think I drew on her on Amanda's boob one time. And then everybody went to go tell Pat, and Pat was wanting to hunt me down in one of the football games.
Business law, right? Yeah. You used to have me draw on your neck with a pencil, and then somehow it ended up with you drawing on my boobs with a marker.
How'd your dad find out about that?
Oh, Mr. Lonis here informed my dad and mom that you were drawing on my boob.
Hey, so you weren't
At the
part of the
football
group,
game.
then you were more on the band group. So like, I thought it'd be funny to. Pat wasn't too happy about that. What did,
And then you told my mom you said first, and then you had him to go tell him that he did it. You wanted him to tell him
to
that he
explain
did it.
that.
All right, yep.
Now what'd you say, the special ed room?
It's the resource room at least. Yes.
And then when I had that financial planning class, there was Miss Mitchell made us do this report on a career goal, on things we wanted to be. And one of my things was I wanted to run a wrestling show. And it was somewhere right in this area where I'm standing at here. And then we had to we had to cut a picture of a magazine to illustrate what we wanted to be. And I put a picture of like Tony Schiavone at the announce table. And this is what, 2002, 2003. Who'd have known that years later I'd have been running XVW and KWA? So I made the goal here, and I accomplished that goal. And pretty overall, that was a boring class.
Yeah.
I remember you used to could hear Miss Mitchell teaching all the way down the hallway.
Yeah. I had Justin Johnson sat behind me in financial planning. I was over here in that class. This is also the only class that my stepmom substituted for me in. This class that was awkward. She'd tell everybody about my burns because whenever I got burnt junior year, she'd tell everybody about the burns to everybody.
This is a story that it's really more funnier if you were there to see it. But me and Daniel was wrestling around in the ag room, and then we kind of came out this way. This is the end of 12th grade, and me and Daniel was wrestling here. William Kincaid was standing up there watching. Daniel grabbed me by the shirt. I kicked him in the shin. I took off running down this way. And this is where the story got interesting, because here we got into another little scuffle where I saw his leg come up, so I grabbed his leg, kind of jerked it, and his head busted this floor right here really, really hard. I thought right there I'd either killed him or really bladed his head. And out of fear, I just took off running and zoomed all the way up that hallway. He jumped up, veins popping out of his neck, did those big eyes. He looked, oh God, blood red face.
I've seen that picture before from Daniel.
Yeah, I thought that was dead meat. I got all the way up to right around that corner there. And he grabbed me by the back of the neck and started squeezing the back of my neck really hard. And I thought I was going to start calling for help, but luckily he calmed down. It was right here. I got to right here. He grabbed me by the back of the neck, started squeezing it, and luckily he didn't kill me, because as hard as his head hit that ground.
Call for help for wasn't Daniel.
Oh yeah! I forgot the funny conclusion of the story. I looked down this way, and there come Nick hobbling up the hallway. He was kind of like, because he just got off his crutches, and he was coming to save me. Okay, we just left over.
He was always tripping up, that's for sure. Always falling, getting hurt.
We can talk about the time we had to go to the principal's office with walk in right now. The principal, we went.
That was Greg Haggard's office right there at the time. Yeah, I remember walking through the store here.
I remember remember I was sitting there like an idiot, and then Charles Hodges came in there, and people were asking, Charles, what are you doing in here?
Well, let's tell the story of that now.
Go ahead and start. So you tell the story best.
You got the note. When me and Haji wrote a note to
You
you.
got the note now. I could tell it was kind of in your handwriting, but I thought, well, I'll just have fun with this. So I gave it to another senior who knew Charles, and she was like, he shouldn't be doing that. So she took it to the office, and then I was called to the office, and then I sat there awkwardly waiting on Charles Hodges.
Who had no clue what we were doing.
No idea. I brought yours and Hodges' name up. Because
So then-
it looks like their handwriting. I think it was them playing a joke on me. So that's when they called you out to the office.
They came down, they got me and Haji out of Buddy Hauser's math class. We walked through that door right there, and I remember going in this room right here and sitting there awkwardly while Charles Hodges sat there in that one chair. And I'd never even seen the guy before.
During that time.
The water fountains are gone. I can't believe it.
I remember when my friends Matt got mono drinking from one of these.
Oh yeah,
water
that's why. That's why I stayed away from those water fountains. Mono.
fountains. You got all these.
They've blocked them off. Let's talk about the time when it was every morning before school, the clique, the gang, whatever, we would hang out. And one year we hung out down there with that Coke machine.
I was always all over the place. Like I'd make my way from group to group because I had so many different little groups. I'd have to make my presence known every morning too.
We moved ourselves down to this area. Justin, Carrie, Daniel, a few of us would be down in this area right here. You were down there with the band people most of the time in the mornings.
I was all around. I would never be in the same place twice.
Now Justin was sitting up against this wall. He was standing here, and then Carrie was beside him, and there was Daniel, and then Haji. And Haji just started going on a rant about how Seymour sucked and Sevier County was the dominant football team.
And he went to the school. So he was not supporting his own team, which kind of pissed me off, honestly.
Now, I can't. How did you get involved with this? How did this fight start?
What year was this? Was this
04?
Was it senior year or junior year? If it was junior year, because the whole topic of it started in Mr. Backman's classroom, because he sat behind me in that
Yeah,
classroom.
it must have been 11th grade then.
Because that's whenever he started going on these rants about how Seymour sucked and everything to me. Then I got wind of it. This conversation was going on here, so somebody came. Wherever I was at the time, somebody came and got me.
It might have been Nick. I think I sent Nick or Daniel down there to get you to tell you what Haji was saying.
So
And
I came up here and I confronted Haji.
right in this area right here.
And then we had the intense stare down. We were I never became so close to going to blows with Haji than ever right here because we were. Quite frankly, I didn't like him at the time. Actually,
So we all spit coke on each other, and years later, 3 or 4 years later, y'all were face to face right here in this. The rivalry went
also in the
on.
hallway down there. I remember we had not earth science, but life science with the teacher down there, and he tried to attack me down there also. So like every single year with Haji, it was always something. And I remember I was on the practice field practicing for band, and Coach Moore came to me and said, "What's the stuff going on with you and Chris Haji?"
That's when I made a match between you and Haji. It was supposed to happen at my house.
And then
he
he
went home.
got mad at Justin for not sticking up for him.
Yeah, he got mad at Justin for not taking up for him. Lockers.
I mean, he was 17.
17
He was
would have been 18 because he was a year.
He was 18 years old at the time, and he couldn't take it for himself. So I mean, it was his own fault. I mean,
Lockers have been. These are new lockers.
his mommy had to go call and tell on me, and I had to have a talk with Coach Moore about that. Either Coach Moore or Greg Haggard.
It was always awkward when our people from our group always got called up to the office because like you wouldn't think Chris Haji would ever be in trouble for anything, or
He was the kind of person that would get picked on though, and I honestly I did most of the picking on him.
these are new lockers. These weren't here when we was here. Looks like a new wall there too.
Yeah, and the walls knew the pictures of always to the test of time. All those pictures down the.
I always remember being in wards with Stephanie Campo and Jessica Valentine. I'd always go in Stephanie Campo's locker and steal stuff out of it. I remember I ripped a Beanie Baby open, and the beads went all over Stephanie Campo's locker. And we got one more hallway to cover.
We got a vehicle out and also whenever we.
Oh yeah. What about the Palm Pilot?
That's what I'm getting to.
All right, that's coming up next. That's the class I had Wellness 2 in. It was Miss Haggard at the time. Back with Chad here.
All right, we are And this area, back whenever all through our sophomore year, this whole area was getting built. This guy was kind of an outdoor area, like where you can kind of step off and wait for the buses and stuff. So all this stuff was added on in 2002. Here we are.
Okay, this was not here.
Yeah.
This was not even.
This part was actually added on later on, but right here next to where this classroom was. We'll go outside the school here in a minute, and I'll show you. I'll pinpoint this. I'll go and tell you the story. I climbed over the construction area of this area in my sophomore year, and I had a Palm Pilot in my shirt, and it actually fell into the cement and got hardened in there.
So somewhere around here is your Palm Pilot. It's been there for.
It's been here for over 10 years, and they'll continue to be here. And also, the only class I really had down here was Miss Barnett, and that was her, Senora Barnett. Me and Jesse Hasserat and
Soler, repitan, soler. En inglés? To be in the habit of. Bueno.
and Justin also had that in our sophomore years.
And I had this class over here, like I said, Wellness 2, with me, Daniel Hopkins, and Donnie Burris. Once again, another fight that was kind of, I kind of had a hand in those two always fighting. I remember one day.
You were an instigator.
I remember the day I had Daniel was so mad at Donnie Burris. Donnie Burris was walking in this area right here. I was beside Donnie, and I knew what was coming. And I turned around, and Daniel was coming down here with that look on his face again. Just jumps on Donnie Burris's back and literally knocks Donnie Burris in the floor. And then we were switching classes, so like there's just like two guys laying here on the floor just awkwardly while people are kind of walking around them. And then Daniel got up and I swear to God, he zoomed up that hallway like he.
Fights were an everyday thing here, so every time we saw somebody fight, we just kind of look at them.
But the fights that our clique got into though was some of the most like
weird circumstances.
Okay, this is gonna be a little more of the depressing part of the.
Sadly, in early 2012, Miss Carpenter passed away. This was where she taught us personal computing. I had her sophomore year, first semester.
She was also big on the annual stuff.
Yeah, she was over all the annual staff, and you see the yearbook stuff on the wall. That was the annual storage area.
That was there then, I think.
That's the annual storage area in that room right there. Those are all the annuals for all from 1962 to now.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I like to go in there one time.
It's a lot. But all the computers have changed. I remember who's that guy? Jonathan Myrick. I had him. I met him in this class. Her nameplate is still up there.
Let's see, what else we got to cover? We got to cover the most. How would you describe Mr. McMahon? Some point.
I always thought of him as a Harvard professor.
Yeah, we had like a college professor kind of guy come along named Mr. McMahon. He was a black guy, bald, big, tall guy.
He was actually a florist, believe it or not. That's what he from being a florist.
And I had him in this classroom right.
Yeah. He always had that cart. He'd push the cart around.
That's the science lab class. Yeah, he had a cart. Didn't have his own classroom.
I had him across the street, across the hall from Mr. Howell's class. But yeah, he had many different classes. That's one of his classes right there.
The man taught high school science on like a college level.
And everybody in my class was basically failing.
Some of your.
I don't even know how I passed it. I know Hodge was in that class. And he passed it because he went to the resource area.
Some of your most smartest preppy people were like making 40s and 50s on tests. They were all going to Miss Maynard complaining to her.
He always did this pin thing where he'd do this and then.
Oh, I remember that.
But anyway, I wanted to touch on this one a little bit today and just sort of get you.
And boy,
questions.
And he would call on anybody. He didn't care if you were shower or not.
Like I mentioned in the ag room, he'd be like, Chris Hodge. I mean, he also called him.
Location of neutron, Chris Hodge.
He didn't call him Hodge. He also called him Chris Hodge. I just remember that he called him Chris Hodge, and then your silence there.
lady that gave us permission to do this documentary here, Miss Wallen, she's now a principal here, but back in the day, I had her right here in this classroom for Algebra 1A. And this is right in this area about where you're standing at. Since Haji didn't even help us, let's kind of bash him a little bit. That's where Haji would always sit, and he in the whole back of his shirt was just sweaty, wringing wet with the sweat, and everybody would always tap each other and point at him and laugh. Also, right beside Haji, right in this area here, Amanda had I remember Nick bought Amanda a big stuffed gorilla, or some kind of big stuffed animal, and brought it in here for Valentine's Day of 2003. You and Nick started dating for 6 months.
Oh, it's that long, huh?
And
I really remember a lot.
your all's first date.
He came with his crutches and tore it to pieces, huh?
Then Nick
Who'd you
fell.
get home with him?
Was it Gina or?
Patrick or I'm not sure. I think Gina took it home. I think she still has it.
I wasn't at that. I wasn't there, but I just heard about Nick falling and breaking the cup holder.
What's your opinion on?
Anybody that knows him should pretty much know that. Different, I guess. A bit different.
Different person. All
You
right.
say he was more of a girl than you were,
Yeah, he.
a drama queen.
Yeah, he liked that a lot.
Oh Lord, now he's altogether different. Ooh, it's hard to describe that boy. So one of a kind, I can tell you that. One day he's one way, and the next day he'll be somebody else. You never really get to know Nick.
How'd that lead into the breakup between you and Nick? Go.
Wasn't that
How-
the same
how'd
day
it
as
happen?
like Valentine's Day almost?
That's when he
'Cause
brought
they
you that
bring
big.
me-
He brought you
yeah.
a big dare. Greg drop it off.
Yeah, they bring all kinds of gifts to the school. That was about the end of the situation.
What about Greg and the pickup would have been like that first week of April? Because I mean, y'all dated exactly 6 months. Or you broke up with him right after he bought you that ring.
Oh, yeah, was that what it was?
Yeah, it was April that year.
Yeah, there was a big, they wanted it back, remember?
Yeah.
Remember, and I said that I put up with him that long and so I wasn't going to give it back?
Oh, I believe she might have killed him, but you know what? That would have been a good marriage. You know, we'd all had fun there at least one night.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have worked.
That's been 10 years ago this month that Nick and Amanda were dating, and she tries to act like that never happened. Now it's what kind of room is this now? Like a Spanish room?
This is Spanish or French. I think it's more Spanish. Mexico.
Yep, Miss Wallen had this class back in 2003. Also had your your stepmom substituted here once. And then here, Justin will remember this. This is where we had Greg Hoskins.
This is where I actually had Mr. McMahon we mentioned back there. This is the room I had him in. Me and Chris Hodge.
There was a teacher that left. Well, I ain't gonna sit here and film the story the whole time. We'll tell a story some other time. Okay, we're trying to figure this out here. There was some teachers, she never came to school. And then we had like Mrs. Zamora and we had all these substitutes, and then finally Greg Hoskins came along. Greg Hoskins looked like Eric Bischoff. He wore like a black leather jacket.
Yeah, because I had this person for homeroom. And every time we get grade cards, so we had to go to homeroom. And I remember I had different teachers every single time, and eventually.
Greg Hoskins tried to reinvent the whole grading scale here. He tried to make it where if you had 60 through 70, you made a D. 70 through 80, you made a C.
And we cannot leave this area without mentioning a certain classroom.
Wait.
That's down here.
I got to say one more thing real quick. Greg Hoskins was a terrible teacher. Finally, I think he got fired because he was so terrible. He got replaced finally by Miss Coffee.
Miss Coffee.
She had glasses, and Nick choked on a piece of gum one day, and he said, "Oh hell!" And because she thought that was a really bad word, she sent him to the office.
Yep.
What did you need to cover? Work study.
There was actually two things, because one thing came to mind, and there was a really bad teacher. There was a teacher called Mr. Derby.
Oh, the
And
old
he
man.
He was an old man, but he had a cart. He was one of the cart teachers, and he'd always riding it down the hallway
Oh.
with the kids. But there's another teacher we got to mention.
That's the librarian right there. That's Miss Kent.
Okay. Or King. Anyway.
Miss King had the glasses.
Oh, okay, yeah. But we got to mention Christy Oaks.
Oh, Christy Oaks.
Yeah.
Wasn't that after our high school days though?
I never had her, but this actually happened after our high school days. She ended up losing. I'll tell you the story some other time.
It had to do with her and Charles Fletcher in a cabin.
and her losing her job.
Yep. Right after we got out of high school, and this was the work study class. Haji, Daniel, a bunch of them used to go right there in that room there. And whose room? Let's see. Whose room was this?
This was it's still Mr. Paul's. This was the French room. Same room.
Okay, I
She still skipped the room.
well, I was never in this room.
Yeah, that was the French room.
Work study, which I don't. What is it now? I
Um,
don't know what that
an
room is.
office.
And
those
guidance.
are the ones,
Miss
that was
Maynard.
actually added on guidance offices.
We used to have Miss Maynard, and there was a blonde lady, Miss Hauser. that everybody had a crush on.
And then Daryl Hauser also, which was the father of
And to all of our
brother Nolan Hauser.
to all of our former high school friends, look, they've kind of upgraded here in the hallway. It's a TV now. That was another teacher's lounge.
Yeah, that was the teacher's lounge there.
One year, this is where this is where the group always stayed. Me, I think it was 10th grade. Justin will remember this. I almost got beat up by Courtney Stevenson right here because some names I called Jessica Valentine, but she came in here and just chewed me out right here in this area in front of everybody in the hallway.
I also remember breaking up with Danielle Norris one time, and she got her friends to gang me up on the. I was down there next to Miss Barnett's room. I got her friends to gang me, and also during this area, this is where I met Vampy Cleveland during lunch.
Oh.
Sophomore year, I met Chris Cleveland right here.
We had so many memories here, like all the fights and everything. It's nearly impossible to really
Yeah, it was.
document it all, but I think we did a good job.
We did a pretty good job.
I think we summed up about everything, the key moments at least. Let's get one more final shot here of everything.
Then we'll head out to get the football field here in a little while.
Yeah, we're gonna get the football field still to come. Senior trip, that was right after high school. In the 2005 boom period where we did Slayer, that's all still to come. Let's head out to the football field.
All right.
Okay, now we're outside here. Before we head to the football field, this is the parking lot area at Seymour High School. Looks a lot different than it did when we was here because it's like huge now.
Yeah, there was a field that started right there. And my biggest memory is that was the day of our graduation practice. We got in Red Mize's car. He did donuts out here in this field.
Wasn't it Daniel's car?
Was it right? Daniel?
Yeah, it might have been both of them, but I remember, you got in Daniel's car.
Yeah,
And he was
yeah,
spinning. Remember the grass spinning everywhere?
Yeah.
And the grass area started right here.
And then sometime down the road they had paved all this to create more parking spaces.
Yeah, all this right here was grass area that people used to burn out in.
I bought my parking spot for 2 years during my sophomore and junior year was right up there. I still have a video of me going in my car right here, in this area right up here. And my senior year, my car was over that side over there because I always had to move it for the buses. That's where the buses always parked. And then for years and years, I always had band practice out here during band camp and everything.
To you, I wanna hope so. You ever
On this thing, we had to march out here. So I've got a lot of memories of this area right here. A lot of time spent out here. Right here on the football field of Seymour High School, and there has been a lot of changes throughout this whole area. This whole area. One I want to talk about right now is the press box. This would just be a big cemented press box right here. The whole thing's completely changed. They tore the other one down, and it's just a completely new box with an extra elevation area up there where scouts and people can look at, I guess. But they have the reserve seating's been the same. They've always had the reserve seating right here. Yellow.
Oh yeah, the yellow things are still there.
This has never changed. Yeah, let's go down and look at the concession area.
Any memories of this area? I remember Jesse Houserat would always sit down.
He'd always sit down there in the first row there, yeah. And I remember like back in our day, the band used to be right down there. That's where I used to always have to sit. I was on the drum line, so I was on the first row down there. Easy.
We'll tour around the area here and talk about some flashbacks.
We had a lot of memories from football games and wellness. And here's a interesting fact about wellness. I think every high school has to do the wellness class where they have to go run up and down the bleachers. Remember doing that? I remember like, there was a couple people like Jesse Houserat was one of them that couldn't do it, so they had to run. They had to walk around the track while the rest of us did the bleacher runs.
Also in 9th grade, me and Amanda and I think it was Gina, we gave CPR to a dummy.
Was that here?
It was out here. George Cotter took us out here. And it was right out there in the football field.
I remember running the mile out here in Cotton Julian's class. Did about 6.5 minutes at the time, and that's a time I could probably not come close to now. I don't know who he was at the time.
You were talking about Mike. You always
Yeah, your stepdad, Mike Cusick. He would. This was every time after we'd do a halftime performance, we'd come over here and I'd come over for concessions and walk right past this area right here, and he'd always be standing here smoking, which he technically shouldn't be smoking. But they were smoking. He'd talk to me. I really had any idea who he was at the time. 'Cause I hadn't really known really until 2005. For some reason, he knew who I was.
This is also the area. Remember all the little kids that used to play ball, and you walk by this area.
I think that. I haven't been there in a while. I think they still do that.
And then we're going to talk about our epic homecoming game and all the events that transpired that night. We'll get to that here in a minute. Okay, homecoming in 2003. Remember the day of homecoming and senior skip day?
Oh yeah.
Me, Nick, and Red Mice skipped. We skipped and went to Walmart and all kinds of places. And I dyed my hair blue, and Nick dyed his hair orange. And then that night, I took the blue hair dye and made a smiley face over on the wall that stayed for at least. It was still there in 2005, so it stayed there at least 2 years.
It'd be cool if it's still here.
I wish it was.
I think they painted over it.
But my blue smiley face was there for years. And I remember we saw it in 2005 when we came. Me and Justin and Amanda Seller came here. We're going to get to that story here later on. Also, the homecoming game, about the Pat Milligan story.
Oh yeah, I told y'all earlier about the time I drew on Amanda Milligan's boob, and then I remember another time I was coming over here after during third quarter snack time, and then I ran into you, and you was like, let's go talk to Pat about Amanda, and then Tammy Milligan was out there, and she's like, Amanda's daddy wasn't too happy about you drawing on her boob. No, I remember I was almost pissed my pants for a minute there because I was like, I had no idea who Pat was. I just knew he was some guy who was unhappy that I drew on his daughter's boobs. So.
And then the night continued to get even more interesting as Pat got kicked out of the football game by Roy Hodges for smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, Mike never got caught, but Pat ended up getting caught smoking. And he had to get. I remember him come up to me and tell me that.
And then in this area right here, we get another huge moment happened where my ex-girlfriend Sasha Mullins was walking through this area, and me and Nick jumped out and shot silly string on her, and she literally started crying, and she's never let me live that down. It happened right here.
Oh, I gotta go. I'm gonna fast forward for a minute. In 2006, I was dating Amanda. Me and her came to this game.
Oh, a silly string story.
Yeah, here's a silly string story. And we were here, and I guess I was kind of pissed off at the time or something. We were in one of our little fights or whatever. And then I remember we were walking right here, and then I got somebody silly string in the back, and I looked in the back, and I had that Nick grin. He turned his back really fast. And I was like, little bastard. And then Amanda was going to go tell you Amanda's going to go tell you thank you for being so mature.
Yeah, man, she wasn't going to say nothing to Nick, though.
Yeah, she was going to tell you to be but she's actually being legit because since you were the one silly string, she was the one that was going to, she was actually going to be not being nice and be thank you for being mature. But I took it as her being a smart dog.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, stop being so fucking immature. And then she got mad at me. We didn't talk to her, so she sat there on the stands with her arms crossed. She had a miserable time.
Thanks to Nick Martin and me and the silly string, we ruined your all's night.
Yeah. but was that silly string really your idea or was it Nick's idea?
No, it was my idea. I put him up to
I
it.
knew, but so that's why I took Amanda's
But you don't think Nick would come up with something like that, do you?
No, you're the king of silly string.
And then this area here looks kind of old still.
Yeah, it's been painted
But
since high school, but
yeah, it used to be yellow and blue, didn't it?
yeah.
I remember the popcorn we always used to get, the really salty popcorn. Norman would always be over here working.
Yeah. This is always the band concession over here.
Here's the new set of well, not really new, but these are the bleachers that.
Replaced the old bleachers, but there's actually to get the whole impact of this whole story, we're gonna have to say that that the home bleachers used to be on this side, and over there's some like really crappy just metal, like barely like metal bleachers smaller than this on that side over there. So like so whenever they finally built that stadium over there, and sometime in the early '90s, they kept the blue bleachers over here, which were still kind of big. I saw the press box right here where we were standing, but they were getting moldy and everything and dirty and everything. So they sometime after was after we graduated they tore them.
I think it was our last year. Was when our last year of high school.
Yeah, that's our last year of high school. They tore those big bleachers down. They put these in there, and these are kind of nice. Always hated these metal bleachers that were. And over there we got they added an overflow area for a VIP area for the fans over there, and then sometime I think it's our senior year they renamed the field the Householder Field.
Oh yeah.
And that was added to the old scoreboard there. But yeah, then here we got the baseball field, which was Brian McCord was the baseball coach in our day. These bleachers are still the same.
I think the blue thing might have been added, but
yeah, you used to be able to self the back of it and just lay your feet and see what some people do that watching the football games. But and then this net here for baseball has been added. I guess too many people got hit in the head with baseballs.
at many football games, me and Nick and Justin, the members of our group, would come over here and kind of hide out.
And then in later years, like over there, that'd be where the bad kids would hang out. All right. Well, after high school, I kind of left the clique area, and I guess we'll talk about your all senior trip and everything, and all the stuff y'all did while I was away here in a minute or so, in a few minutes. But right now, but in October 2005, I went to college with Jesse Housewright, and I'd always see him. He used to say that you and Justin would always come to all these games and everything.
And you'd been gone for a year and a half now.
Yeah, I was completely out of
Not just have you been gone a year and a half, but we really hadn't really hung out with you. I guess you kind of cut ties with
since graduation. Like I hadn't seen any of y'all since graduation.
But even before we kind of talked there in freshman year.
Yeah.
But like really hanging out would have probably been like middle school.
Yeah.
Like 6th grade.
Yeah, probably.
So this was you really could completely cut ties after high school for a year and a half. We didn't see you or anything at all.
Hell, I guess I'll go ahead.
Because me and Justin did go to a few games in fall of 04. Or no, I mean fall of 05.
Yeah, just yesterday I said he saw you all.
Yeah, because my sister was a cheerleader then.
Yeah. So I said I think I'll go to one of the games, see some old people and everything. So I came here and talked to Jesse Housewright, and I was like, "Hey, have you seen Chris and Justin?" It's like, "Yeah, they're over there somewhere. This was a normal spot." So Jesse Housewright always sat here, so I left here and I walked. And I just made my way through the crowd.
This moment here led to so much, and then if it hadn't been for this, we wouldn't even be standing here right now.
No.
I don't know where you'd be.
We owe a lot to Jesse Housewright for all that area and everything. I walked down the corner and then there you were.
Yeah, me and Justin and Amanda Solar
and this is the first time I got a chance to meet this Amanda Solar girl.
Yeah, me and Amanda and Justin were standing right here because I remember we were right here with this telephone post at. And we were looking at the smiley face. It had been there for 2 years, and then there you came around the corner. And
I think Justin did one of these things like.
Yep. And then I think you came back to my. Then you came back to my house that night, and then that led to us going to the movies. Led to Slayer, and which we're gonna get into later on.
And also, it led to my year-long relationship with Amanda.
Yeah, 'cause this is where you met Amanda Solar at.
I think we left here that night, and we went. I think we went to the Wendy's in the parking lot, hang out in the parking lot there for a while.
Yeah.
Then we went on to I went to your house for the first time.
Another cool thing is we were here to watch Brittany cheerlead. My mom was the coach. Another reason we were here, the biggest reason we was here, was because we wanted to avoid Haji, who came down every single weekend. Me and Justin had to go hide somewhere, so we came here, hoping he wouldn't find us. He didn't come here, but we were waiting any time for him to come around the corner, and it was you instead. And eventually we got rid of Haji completely, which we'll also talk about. But before we get to any of the stuff from 2005, we've got to cover the last days of high school, graduation, senior trip.
That's coming up next.
Yep. Okay, now we're in the area where during high school Amanda used to live, and this is where we used to have a lot of our parties at. Me and Brian Lindback. Okay, this is the house that belonged to Amanda back in high school. This is where we used to have all of our parties at. And that garage right there is where Greeter used to sleep. He was the homeless guy that Pat took in. I remember me and Patrick went out there one time and he was watching pornos. And let's stop right there for a sec. That's the house right there. Brian Lindback, Casey Noah, Gina Gibson, all of us used to hang out there and have parties. Kenny always used to come over. Party that year.
What year was it?
2002. Remember that party?
Yeah.
And you came with Gina, and we had the pink disco ball, and then Chris Cleveland and all them came. And then that started all those parties, because remember the Christmas party? Like you and Nick were there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I fell out of the chair, and Haji streaked the couch.
Your mom wasn't too happy about that, huh?
She put everything in that couch and couldn't get it to clean.
Well, you know, while you did Chris's mama's couch, I had to hear about that for a while. And then Carolyn go, I guess probably about 4 months or 5.
Yeah.
Over that couch. I mean, it really bothered her. Yeah, I upset her about that.
Eventually I had to get a new couch.
Yeah, he should have. He really should have paid for cleaning. That's what she told me, or bought her a new one.
You remember what made him do it? We kept saying we were going to call Roy Haji.
Oh yeah.
Nick kept acting like he was calling Roy, so Haji got nervous and
Yeah, just let it go, huh?
should.
He's loose in the caboose, is all I know.
Yeah, that's.
Jean.
Well, she's a pretty good girl. I like her. She's Patrick. Well, she was Patrick. Her and Patrick was a little rough there for a while.
Yeah.
Heard about those.
She's a good girl. I really like Gina.
Hey, what was the date?
Here in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, on May
What
16th.
what was the date?
No, it was April 9th.
April 22nd.
April 20, yeah. No, it was May 22nd we graduated. It was,
April 24th.
yeah, April 24th, day of our prom.
Okay, we got it right. April 24th, 2004. Our Seymour High School prom, class of 2004, was held right here,
Park Vista,
Park Vista.
Gatlinburg,
Wow, what a walk.
Tennessee. Yeah, we parked way down on the strip in Christian Gardens. We walked all the way up here. That was a nice little hike. Poor Gary, who's 12 years younger than us.
How do you all walk this
12
much?
years younger than us, and last in line.
Oh yeah, now the memories are coming back. This is the first time I've been in this parking lot since that evening. We had a prom here, and then afterwards, which we'll document here in a little bit, we went to eat down at Outback.
Yes.
We'll show you that. It's no longer Outback. We're gonna see.
I'll show you that next.
How long was that walk?
I don't know. Let's see what kind of view we can get over here of this. Wow, yeah, that's kind of the shows you the walk we had to make there.
Yep, we were actually walking on that road right there.
Oh, yeah. I want to get a good picture.
I took Kayla Kitts to the.
feel comfortable, Gary.
I took Kayla Kitts, Justin took Carrie, Nick took Christine Perry and Rachel Byers both, and
Tracy
you
Taylor.
took Tracy Taylor. We'll see what we can get filmed here at the Park Vista.
Do a little snooping around first.
I want to get a picture. Oh, this place is beautiful.
Okay, we're here at the Park Vista inside. We're gonna try to go to our exact location of our prom.
The walk was worth the beauty, I guess.
I've got a 6 cent.
You know this is a beautiful place, Gary. You got a good picture, and it's worth the walk up here.
That's what I just said.
And
This is it.
Oh, thank God there's a bench.
okay, unfortunately, the doors are locked, but beyond those doors was our prom.
I remember coming in like Miss Miller, Miss Beverly Ellie would be out here. And
Yeah.
We'd sign in.
Sweet, sweet.
I mean, some of our teachers were over here too.
Yeah. And then some of the kids actually stayed here that night.
And I remember walking out in the hallway, and there was another party going on over here.
Yeah.
Party going on over here.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, after that walk, that's all we got for you.
That's it.
We can't get in.
We're gonna head back down the hill. We're gonna show you where we ate after we left here. After we had a little click meeting.
And then we're going to cover the senior trip.
Just one last thing we're doing here at the Park Vista that we never got to do. We're going down.
Oh, God.
Here we go. Going down. Oh. What's going on here?
Don't take them now.
That was kind of corny, but it's still kind of cool.
Christmas very nice.
Okay, what happened between you and Kayla and then you and my date on that night?
I'll try to sum this up pretty quick, but me and Kayla Kitts started talking in February, and once the school found out, once all the people like Jennifer Wortham and Katie Milstein, Amanda Popper, once all of them found out, they started getting in my head saying, "Oh, she's just using you. She just wants to go to prom. If she didn't want to be a couple, she didn't." And she was my prom date, and that always. So you got the people telling me she's using me to go to prom. So it kind of looked like they were really telling the truth there. So I was around prom, I was trying to ditch her, and then everybody kept telling me how mean that was. Carrie was real mad about it. So I ended up just being stuck going with Kayla. And that's where you brought Tracy Taylor.
Yeah, the thing about Tracy Taylor is like I solely just brought her there as a friend because she had a crush on me earlier in that year. So whenever I took her, I purposely wanted to kind of keep a distance and not get too intimate with her that night.
Honestly, everybody hated the prom. I think that, honest to God, that's why I liked the prom so much. Because I had a prom date, Kayla, and then I had your date was always talking. Your date came off kind of interesting because I was already sick of Kayla by that point. And then went to the Haunted Adventure, and she kept holding my hand and stuff. So to me, that was always a memorable night.
I didn't like prom because I went there. I did a prom a year before, and then I ended up doing another one the year after. So prom was just like another whole thing to me.
And at the table, so I enjoyed the prom. So made her mad at me a few days later. I told her Justin will remember this. I told her yard looked like Jumanji because her nobody ever mowed her yard. And then I did start talking to Tracy in that May of 2004. Me and Nick, I invited her to go to NASCAR Speed Park with us, and me and her were actually talking there for a little bit. And here we are. We are in Gatlinburg.
Tennessee.
Yep, and this is where we had our senior trip at, which you weren't a part of.
It's called the Edgewater.
It was me, Justin, Daniel, Carrie, and Nick, and Rachel Blazer, all 6 of us. And we parked right here in this spot. And this is on May 26, 2004. And we're going to document that whole week here, beginning now. Let's go into the Edgewater Hotel, which at the time was managed by Justin's dad, Steve Johnson. And used to, Justin and Carrie would get on the elevator, and me and Nick would run up the stairs trying to beat him up there. And usually we'd beat him up there.
That beat me shocker.
Okay, we gotta be really quiet, but this is the arcade area of the hotel. All these games, I believe, has been here for 10 years.
They're the same games y'all have.
Yeah, because I do remember that one. And I remember, I remember the card game. And there's the area down there where Justin's dad would always be sitting at the desk. This is usually the area where we'd call home, check in with our parents each day.
I'm behind.
Here we are on the elevator at the Edgewater.
Going up to the 7th floor.
I can't quite remember what floor we were on. I remember it's 7 or 8. I remember on that Tuesday, we want to tell a story here in a minute. Let's see. I don't know, I wouldn't really be able to know. I don't quite know if this is the exact floor, but they all look the same, so now you got a pretty good idea what it looked like.
It smells.
Okay, we need to tell the story while we're on the elevator. On that Tuesday, we were talking to you, and you were talking about coming up here to the trip. You and
yeah.
Tracy Taylor were.
Yeah, I was gonna pick up Tracy Taylor.
And when Justin found out, he got kind of upset because he said, if you weren't paying, nobody needed to be here.
I would have paid.
And so then Nick started talking about Carrie while Carrie was on the balcony, and then we ended up deciding we were going to go out with Rachel, Christine Perry, and Amanda Watson. We was going to go out with them for the night. So when those girls showed up, they flipped Carrie off. Carrie was on the balcony, and then we came back later that night, and our stuff was out in the hallway. Me and Nick got kicked out of the hotel room. And then I had to be the one to go and apologize, so I had to go to that pool area.
What floor are we going to?
Which is locked.
Yeah, we couldn't get to the pool area.
Tried to.
Had to go apologize to Justin, and then he said Nick needed to be the one to apologize also, and then we got back in the room that night. And we're about to go down to the streets where we can explain like all the places we went to and
The streets of Gatlinburg.
another cool thing about staying here at the Edgewater was we were right next door to the Mysterious Mansion. The Mysterious Mansion was just opening on that Monday, so we were the first ones to actually go in that year. Justin wouldn't go in, but I remember we got Carrie and Rachel to go, and they chickened out maybe 2 minutes in and had to go out the emergency exit door. So me, Nick, and Daniel went on through. We probably went to this place probably about 15 times that week. This was always our secret area we'd always get to it at, right over
Whenever
here.
the sun goes down, we get a nice little night spot there, which is really cool.
And there was a clown that worked here at the time.
I remember the very first time I went in here, I was 14. The very first time I went in here, I was 14 years old. And I got there, I went with my dad, and I went on the emergency exit. And I remember going down these stairs up there.
Let me rephrase this for you all. No.
Gary,
Go. I don't know what I just said, but you guys put it on.
there was a clown that worked here, and I remember I bought that exact mask at the mask shop at Gatlinburg Mall. And that clown mask went on to be Massacre the Clown in the XBW. Here's an outside shot of the Edgewater Hotel where we stayed at. It was green back in those days. It's been painted.
Yeah, I remember that.
I can't remember exactly where balcony was at, but it was somewhere up there. I remember this is going to skip forward a little bit, but the very last moment of the senior trip on that following Monday was them throwing my underwear off the balcony and it landed in that water right there.
Did you ever get it back?
No.
So somewhere your underwear is
My
falling
underwear.
in the river.
Yeah, for the last 9 years, I don't know where those underwear ever turned up at. On that Monday, me and Nick snuck out of the hotel room about 11 o'clock after everybody went to bed, and we got in trouble by a cop for being out on the street that late. This fat lady cop, she told us we need to get back to our room. There was some kind of curfew.
Oh yeah, if you weren't 18, there was a curfew.
And I believe on that Tuesday we discovered the Hauntings Ghost Show.
If you weren't 18, there was a curfew.
And I believe on that Tuesday we discovered the Hauntings Ghost Show. We're going to get to that here in a little bit.
See that?
Go.
And now we are at the Car Museum in Gatlinburg, a place we went to quite a bit during the senior trip.
Someone got hit.
The Christine car. I don't believe this wasn't in this area back on the senior trip.
I suggest you keep your ample derriere or flank.
There's the Haunted Adventure where we have been to the Haunted Adventure probably over 200 times in the last 9 years.
Yeah.
All you saw was a roller coaster.
Alright, we're going.
Mysterious Mansion here in Gatlinburg.
This is the highlight of our Gatlinburg trips every time we come here.
Ever since 2004.
This is where
Alright, and that sums up the senior trip. We did the Space Needle, Haunted Adventure, Mysterious Mansion. We also did NASCAR Speed Park that week and Dollywood, all kinds of stuff. It was a hell of a week, and that now completes the high school era is done, and now we're going to be going on to 2005 here soon.
2005.
This all was just destined to happen the way I always did an everyday journal entry called The Extreme Effect, where I'd write about what all happened. I started writing about I started making our pranks public on the website, because I noticed that my numbers started going up more and more. So I just kind of write about all of our pranks, and finally somebody there, I don't know if it's Christy Thomas or what's that other girl's name?
Amanda. Was it Amanda girl?
No, there was some employee that worked there.
I thought her name was Amanda. What's her name?
Watson.
The big fat girl?
Amanda Watson was.
No, not Amanda Watson, but somebody.
Amanda Daniels, she was a manager.
Yeah, okay.
Somebody there worked there told Amanda Daniels and Marianne that I was doing all this bad stuff, and go read my website. I was writing about the managers. I was calling Amanda a fat ass and calling Ben a fag and all this. So the manager started reading my website, and I was unaware of it. So here I'm going home every night writing about what went on at work, and they're not knowing they're sitting at home reading it all. So then Justin always called our district manager Mark Fartin Sniffer. His name was Mark something, and Justin changed the name around, made it that. So I even wrote him on there. So then eventually, I got a call on a Tuesday night, and they told my mom not to come in that night, and to come in for a meeting on Wednesday. Then my mom started saying, "What have you done? What have you done?" She was like, I was worried. I didn't know what I could possibly be in trouble for. So I went on that Wednesday night, and there was Mark, the district manager, was there. And then they pulled us over to the booth. You were there.
Yeah, that was the one. That's the first time I saw you since graduation, actually.
So I never told you I was about to get fired. I think I knew I was getting terminated. And then here Mark has this big stack of papers. They printed off every single journal entry saying they could have got me for slander. I was talking about managers. I was talking about breaking policy. And then he said they were even talking about me on there. He said my name was even on there. And Justin always thought that was hilarious because
And who was some of the?
Yeah, August of 2004, I was down with Wendy's. Of course, and that was my first job, so I was kind of a little scared because now, where am I going to go now? So then I went around I wasn't really making much of an effort to try to find a job. And then all of a sudden, Mama Ogle, our neighbor, told us that there was a job fair going on. Hired right then. Because they were opening up the new Food City store in October. So my first day at Food City was the first week of September of 2004. And my first shift went pretty good. I was just bagging. And then the cashier over next to me was Amanda Solar. And when her started talking. And then week by week, I started making more friends. Next came Ben Rouse. He was another bagger. There came Raven Kiefer, Shannon LaQuire. There was
I remember you
Paul Saguna.
I remember you bringing Amanda Saul to the football game that I eventually showed up at.
Paul Saguna came along about a year later. He came along sometime in 2005.
And then there was a big rivalry in 2005 right after I came back with Amanda Solar, Paul Saguna, and Justin, and me. So we were all fighting over like who was wanting to date Amanda.
Looking back, I don't know what's so great about her.
I agree now, but at the time I felt like I won a prize whenever I finally won.
Some prize that turned out to be. Paul Saguna was even on that fight. Paul Saguna, Andrew Justice, me, you, Justin, we were all going for her. Jimmy Phipps.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to Jimmy Phipps in a minute. Briefly tell me about the time right before I came back, known as the Haji era.
Carrie broke up in January of 2005. A few weeks later, Nick swooped in and got Carrie. So now I'm stuck in this mess where I have to hang out with Justin, and then I have to hang out with Nick and Carrie because they all couldn't coexist. And then Justin started dating a girl named Misty, and then came Christine Perry and all that. So I'm off over here. I'm having to split time up with these two groups. Finally, I just got fed up. Then there was this point where Nick and Carrie tried to say that Justin flattened their tires, flattened Greg's tires or something. So then Tammy and Greg and all them were going to get a lawsuit. We were going to get Carrie got a restraining order on Justin. It just turned into a big mess. Every time it finally came down to a point where I felt like I had to choose. I was going to have to get somebody was going to have to go because it was getting to the point of being ridiculous. So on a Friday, Nick did something to make me mad. I just kind of snapped on him. Then I wrote a journal entry that night. I kind of bad-mouthed Nick and Carrie intentionally, which I intentionally made Nick and Carrie mad. And then that instantly ended the friendship. Carrie said if I was going to be that low down and talk about them on a website, screw me. So they were out of the picture. Now it's just Justin. It's just me. So now Haji starts coming around. And then now we're in April of 2005. And this started a stale 6-month era of pretty much. I'd go to work on Sunday, work 6 to midnight, Mondays, Tuesday. I'd work Sunday through Thursday, just do my Food City schedule. Friday and Saturday I'd have off work. And then Haji would come down on Friday wearing the shorts and a t-shirt, and he'd have a bag, and in the bag would be his controller and I think it was bad as his controller. He'd wear those same clothes all weekend. Justin would come over usually on Saturdays, and then we went to some car shows there in April. I was happy though because I had the Nick and Carrie stress gone. I didn't have to choose sides anymore. So me, Justin, and Haji was this little 3-man duo, and it happened like every week. April.
Oh yeah.
We used to hook this little webcam up to my computer and we'd wrestle.
Yeah.
We were called. It was a dumb name. It's called NWO Backyard, even though we.
In the bedroom.
Is in the bedroom, and I think that was the first thing I showed you when you came around. I showed you our webcam shows.
No.
month after month of Haji just coming around nonstop was starting to finally get kind of old. It was that combined with the fact that life was just getting stale. And at 19 years old, I wasn't really happy. So in September, me and Justin both mutually agreed that it was time for some changes. Made up these two girls. Two girls didn't even exist. We made it. And so I told Haji, I said, "Well, you're not going to be able to come down this week, and we got a double date." And he said, "Oh, can I come down after the date's over?" And I said, "Well, we're probably going to be out late." So that was on a Saturday. That was on a Saturday. So he left my house.
Somebody begging to come over like that. Go. This is on a side note here, but so somebody that begs to come over and stay all weekend. Go from that at age 19 or 20 to age 23, 24, and having this horrible, god awful curfews and have to
being scared of his crazy dad, stepdad.
This is crazy, but yeah, go ahead. I had to add that in though.
We had a master plan put in place. We was going to get rid of Haji for one weekend and go. Me and Justin was going to go. Our plan was to get rid of Haji. We didn't really have dates. We were just going to go ride around and try to find some girls to go do something with that. We were sick of Haji. So house and went straight to your house.
Oh, I remember that day. I was sitting in my room and my dad actually said, "There's some fat kid out here to see you." And I remember like that was actually the words he used. And I was like, I looked outside the window and I saw Haji standing at my front door.
Okay, week number 2, he did come down. Because now we're around Labor Day time. Fairs in town. I let him come down that weekend. He pissed me. This is what really set me over the edge here. We went to the fair on a Saturday night around Labor Day in the Sevier County Fair. Paid $20 for a wristband. Got in there, and then I started saying, I said, "You want to ride that?" And this is the day when I could ride anything in there. I said, "You want to ride that?" He shook his head no. He was terrified. He couldn't ride these little baby rides. I'm talking about like like that thing that goes up and down.
Oh yeah, so you paid all that money and you.
Yeah, so we walked around and said, "Yo, let's do that." He said, No, I get motion sickness.
Yeah.
I snapped on him at this point. I said, "Why did we come all the way up here, and why'd you make me pay $20 for a wristband if you're not going to do any of this stuff?" He said, "I'm sorry, man, I got motion sickness." So let's just go. So then me and him left. On the whole car ride back, I didn't say a word to him. There was an awkward silence. That's when he had the green truck. He was driving the green truck home. I went straight in the house, called Justin, and told Justin how frustrated I was with this. Is bullcrap. He made me pay all that money. So the plan was put back into place to get rid of him again. So now we're in the middle of September. I went to get crystals. That was another day we told him we had plans. We weren't going to be home. So me and Justin go 10:40 to Crystal to get our crystals to get him to watch Impact at 11 o'clock. And then I'll be damned, there he came driving through Seymour. And Justin said, "Son of a bitch." So we were side by side. Justin's Eclipse, Haji's truck. Justin he went down Finger Road over near where Julie lives.
Oh yeah.
And Justin said we lost him now. We thought we were rid of him for the night. Pull up in my driveway at 10:56, and there was the green truck sitting there in the driveway. He was already here. My mom had already let him in the house. So Haji spent another Saturday night with us. Now this is October 1st, because Impact debuted. Okay, so now Haji knew there's so much awkward silence. He didn't even bother coming down the next week, which had been October, second week of October. And then now at that point I was 110% done with Haji. We was fed up with him. So now I went on my website. I said we got to make things fun like it used to be. So I made an event called One Night Stand. And now it's time to bring Nick and Carrie back. And this is what step by step led to your return. So I made an event for October 7th. It was going to be called One Night Stand. We were going to have a one-night reunion with our old school friends. It was going to be me, you, Daniel, Nick, and Carrie. So the first thing I had to do was I had to do a public apology to Nick and Carrie on the website. And then Carrie had her own website too at the time. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I never saw it, but I knew she had one.
Carrie was always my competition sites. Carrie read it. She responded back to my blog on her blog, which they weren't called blogs and they were called journal entries. By Wednesday, I'm already over in Nick and Carrie's duplex. Nick's already back. I'm riding around the Explorer 2 days before what was supposed to have been our reunion. So I've already reunited with Nick. Stuff happened that fast. We went from the Haji era to this so quick, within days. And now, so on that Friday night, Now hold on, I think because I've completely the football game, but you were back, but you weren't back.
Yeah.
The fact that we were back in contact with you made me realize that you should be part of the one night stand reunion too. Now let's go to October 7th. Now, it was me, you, Nick, Carrie, and then Daniel. Unfortunately, couldn't make it. So us four reunited and went to Gatlinburg, which was probably one of the funnest nights I'd had. Probably.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember that.
And
We still got our Gunnar Hansen pictures from that.
Era where it was this stale routine of Haji coming down every weekend, Justin would come over, we'd wrestle, and then I'd go back to work for 5 days. Now it transformed to that, to now we're hanging out with Nick and Carrie again.
So
you're back.
And then we got Nick
Justin's
and
on the side. Yeah, Justin's hanging around. You're back. Nick and Carrie are back in the picture, and I just hooked Daniel up with a girl named Crystal Moore. Daniel went with us to the corn maze a few weeks later. And now
whenever I came back, I brought Christian with me.
Yeah.
And then
Christian
I remember Hodges' last appearance that year. What was one time whenever Christian was there.
Well, let's film on October 14th. So that'd have been the weekend The Fog came out. So me, you, and Justin went and saw The Fog. There was this bagger I'd met just maybe a month or two earlier named Christian that worked at Food City. And I'd help him go do his cleanup. Somehow your name got brought up. I don't remember exactly how.
You knew Christian.
Briefly, and we worked together for a day.
Yeah.
And something happened. He said, "Oh, you know Chad Hatchery? I was in the band with him." And I said, "Yeah, I've known him since second grade." And me and Christian kind of sparked this little brief friendship. And then he quit Food City. I guess
Because of me, because he started working for me at Kodak.
So now middle of October, we went. Haji had now went on a disappearing act. Haji disappeared for probably the whole month of October. Then we've already told the rest of this. Christian came around. Christian brought with him Anthony. Already completed Slayer.
We were actually almost thinking about I was wanting Haji to be in Slayer too, but you were sick of Haji.
Oh yeah, no question about Haji was not going to be. I was fed up with it.
So I remember we were in your bedroom playing video games, and like everybody was like completely. He was standing there awkwardly. Like we were kind of just completely ignoring him.
Oh yeah, I heard a car. You were playing Aladdin, and I remember hearing this car pull. I heard a car. I was like, "Oh God, who's this?" Look outside, and they went the green truck pulled up.
Yep.
Haji. Oh God, that was awkward because now here's Haji coming. It's amazing how much life changed in a month. But here Haji comes in now to this changed environment. There's this kid named Christian here now. You're back. You were never here.
And the rivalry like even though me and Haji were kind of nice to each other at this time, like we had those years of hatred all through the school. So like Haji's somebody I was never really able to stand at that point. So I was kind of cool with just shooting him out the door.
And Haji, he was over here all those years for those parties. You were never at those. You were never in the high school. In high school, he was always over here, and you were never to be found. You were his rival. So for him to come back, and you're here now, and Christian's here, and I'm not talking to him. He was definitely.
And I think that the thing that kind of like stuck the fork in him was whenever he said he wasn't invited to Daniel and
I remember
Nick
that.
and Carrie's wedding.
I remember that.
He wasn't invited to Nick and Carrie's wedding.
Oh man, you remember that.
That was it right there.
The reason
he got in his truck and left when we didn't hear from him for a year and a half.
Okay. Nick and Carrie were getting ready for their big wedding, and Nick flat out said, he said Haji's not invited, and it wasn't my wedding. It wasn't. I had nothing to do with that. So Haji's like, so I heard Nick and Carrie's getting married, and then me being kind of ass, me being fed up with Haji all those months. I just said, yeah, and you're not invited. And you can just hear you can just feel the. I don't think another word was spoken. I think he got his keys and he went out the door.
Yeah.
No, there was no see ya. No. That's once I said yeah, and you're not invited. The whole room got quiet, and he out the door he went and never saw him
we hadn't seen him for another year and a half
until the XPW of late '06. So.
Yep.
Well, I honestly forgot. I forgot about me saying that. Epic moment right here. You're revisiting your house of you lived in for what, 15 years?
Yes.
When did you move here?
June of 1991. Actually, maybe 1990.
And when did you move out of here?
I moved out here in December of 2006.
And right now we've been given permission to actually go in.
Yeah.
There's
I'm
two.
gonna wait on the owner to let us in, and we'll go in for being there soon.
I remember the first time I came over here was, I believe, '94, because we watched an episode of Power Rangers and we played the Power Rangers, the video game. And this is an outside shot of this is also where we filmed Slayer 3, so we'll be right back. We did just talk to the new owner of the house, and she said we could go in. We're waiting right now for her to put the dogs up.
While we're waiting, that area right down there is where I buried my cat in 2002. All those things are going up there.
It's gotta be a big moment for you to come back here.
Get into there.
Yeah, make quotes for cancer patients. Oh no, this is quote stuff.
All right, are you filming?
Yeah.
All right.
Right now we are in the downstairs area of your
Basement area. I remember when we first moved here, we had this huge big screen TV. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
We all had it right there. And then we changed quite a bit. Looks like the new wall's been added.
Yeah, this is Christmas tree
The
was.
only thing that actually looks familiar down here now is the bar. The bar is
No, that's
the
from,
exact same.
that's where Chelsea and Julie stood
Yep.
behind there. Was serving drinks at the for the nightclub scene.
Yep.
The couch was right there.
Oh my gosh! Oh my god! Who is that? Who the fuck is that?
man we burned.
Oh my god!
It was right there, and then the TV would have been there, and then me and Sarah Kuzik would have been sitting here.
And then I think this is the same carpet that I had in 2006. I spilled wine, and then this carpet down here, and I was afraid I was gonna get in trouble with my parents. So I picked part of it up, and I bleached it a little bit, and it kind of dissolved the carpet. So I ended up having to spot all new carpet down here. So like the summer before we moved out, we had this carpet put in.
And then the Christmas tree and the movie would have been there. And then in this area here is where the smoke machine was shot off. So Sadistic Misfortunes, the demon,
Yeah.
could drive the cane into Sean Baxter's head.
Yeah. And you and Sarah had that scene right there.
Yep. And then Sean Baxter came walking through this way. Sadistic was standing right there.
And that door right there, that's the door where Julie walked in. That was going towards the out exterior of the nightclub.
Oh yeah.
And then come
And that's
in.
when Justin ran down the stairs and said those people.
Oh yeah.
Hi, those people, I'll be high.
And this is where he dropped his phone in the toilet.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man.
The blue, it wasn't blue back then, was it?
No, yeah, the walls are completely different. But
We had to. So let's get one wide shot here of the nightclub area from Slayer 3 and Chad's former downstairs area.
we never used this, but this was our living room. Right here. All right, go ahead and shoot off on this for a second.
This room here was.
This room right here, that was actually
Oh yeah.
our room for time whenever I was a kid, because as my sisters got older, they had the two rooms back there, and then we made the living room my room right here. So my dad actually built a room right there. And then in 2006, they actually like knocked down that wall right there and built the bar right there.
Oh, yeah, I do remember the wall being there. And
then whenever my older sister moved out, I moved back here. And I was not gonna go in here, but this was my room from 7th grade to.
Go in there. Just sewing room.
okay.
This is my room from 7th grade to, I guess, whenever we left here.
There was a
Yeah,
TV
six.
in there.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a TV bolted up on the wall up here. And then I had a recliner and the bed and everything was just right there.
And then that room in the hallway was the computer room, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was actually my sister's room. Then after my other sister
Yeah,
moved out,
that's
we
all
moved out
off.
to the office right there.
Yeah,
And that was
changed that a lot.
Yep. Big room, changing.
And that was Sharon and
Yeah,
Phil's room.
that's my parents' room right there. Alright. See that shed right there? My dad actually built that shed.
Whoa.
And the two chows that we had were both, I don't know if they're still there or not, but they were both buried right there next to the shed. They both died while we were here, but the last one died while we were still in high school. My car was always parked my car right here every time. And the fence hasn't changed; it's still the same fence. And all you're saying is you never were able to get a car in the garage ever. We used to have the basketball goal up there.
When was that taken down?
That was taken down mid-90s probably. We didn't have it there that long. There used to be a tree right there. They used to shade our cars.
Huh.
But yeah. A lot of changes going on here, but I'm so glad I actually got the chance to go in and take a look at it, because I had 15, 16 years worth of memories of this house, so happy to have been back and look at the old Slayer scenes. But we're gonna head on to the location.
Floyd. Okay, now we are at the area where I grew up at. And this is the body shop that belongs to my mom's ex-husband, Rick. I used to have to come down here in the summer and do a lot of work. Okay, now we're going up my old driveway. It's been blacktopped over the last 10 or 12 years. That satellite dish that my grandparents had is still there. It's the remains of it. Is that not amazing?
It looked like part of it fell apart, because I remember it was bigger, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You said like the bottom part of it.
I'd go down there and watch Power Ranger episodes, and you'd have to turn, the satellite dish would have to turn.
Yeah.
It was like the old school.
It's like an old remnant of days gone by.
And this was the horse field. That we always had two horses out in this field here. Now this is where the barn used to sit. The barn's been torn down. But this whole area here used to be a barn.
This is your area. You should be.
And then we used to have a fence that ran all the way across here. The fence has been torn down. I think I already said this once, but I used to ride my go-kart up that hill there. There was one day I actually got brave and kind of rode it on deep in there, but there was really nothing up there, it was just like a trail. And this is See, down there's where me and my uncle used to always go fishing at. It's a pond down there. We can try.
Yeah, right on past the gate there.
Well, he did actually say we could go down there. That the guy did. Another shot of the pond here where we used to always go fishing. Another shot here of my grandparents' old house. So there was a bunch of dogs in the backyard. That right there would have been the kitchen where I'm zooming in at. And we were given permission to go in here, so. That pole there has been there since I was a little kid, and the reason it was put there is so we could make a Christmas tree. Strand the lights down all down it.
That's cool.
So that's been there ever since. Been there ever since. Okay, we have an excellent segue here because we just saw my grandparents' property. Well, that's where I spent from 1991 to 2003, always being in the area. Just then was my first visit there in 10 years. And now we're at the cemetery, Knob Creek. This is where my grandparents were buried.
Yeah, picture on the tombstone also.
Like that picture always used to hang in the living room, or in the den area of that house we were just at. Now, segue here is this is also the same area we used in 2005 to film Slayer, the first Slayer movie. We needed a good cemetery scene, so we came here. It was me playing Vic, and Christian Brandel played Brock Latham.
And the reason we got the names from the tombstone up here that we were pretending he was creeping at. And the name was Billy Joel Latham. One of these two ones up here, I remember. He was on his knee. Right here.
Billy Joe Latham. That's where we got the name because he was just playing a character named Brock, and he didn't have a last name.
Yeah.
And we put Latham in when we did the credits. Right here's the epic area.
The funny thing is, Billy Joe actually never really died.
Oh yeah, Billy Joe's still alive.
He's still alive. We always use that name. My wife was dead.
Now this exactly is where we were standing at. And see, I walked off. My character did, and then Christian was kneeling down.
Yeah, and then we'll enter a clip here of the car being stolen right in the same.
My car was in that same spot. You could see in the movie. You could see the killer kind of walk, like the silhouette of the killer walking around.
We're gonna.
He grabbed
We're gonna edit that clip in here and show you what's going on.
When the killer got in the car and another car was pulling in,
Yeah.
so that couple had to watch as Sean Baxter stole my character's car, and then I came over here, or Christian took off running down this way, saying he's taking the car.
Yep. So we're gonna go and edit that clip in right now.
Vic! Vic, you're taking the car!
Standing there at one of my family members' grave sites when all of a sudden Chad runs up to our car in a Michael Myers costume and steals the car. But he didn't notice that another car had pulled in to, I guess, look at their grave site. So it was very embarrassing.
Was it like? And then after that, we also we came back here in 2007 for the remake, for one of the remakes, for the many remakes of Slayer. And Cody Evans did that same scene.
Yep.
Where's that one in too?
Vic, he's taking the car.
Good.
I got the privilege to be in the first Slayer that was ever created, so that was very exciting. But I really tried to really push through on that scene and just really make it something memorable. So it was very. I was nervous. But and scared, but I think the whole thing really came together. You know, I believe I was stabbed with a screwdriver, so yeah, it was very emotional scene altogether. It was exciting.